Hello everybody, hello, welcome to the Papercraft Society Craftalong. So I'm honoured because I usually organise these and make sure that we have a fabulous designer doing the Craftalong for their Papercraft Society box each month. But this month it's my box, so that's down to me. So really pleased to be with you this evening. I hope you're all doing well. It's Wednesday, so it's technically hump day, isn't it? So let's get right over that hump. So we're sort of speeding towards the weekend with a crafty attitude and ready to do some fun things. Now I've got lots of cards around me. These are what both myself and the design team have created using the Papercraft Society box. Now this video is mostly for the people who have the box, the people who are subscribers, who maybe subscribe every month, but whether you've purchased this box or not, hopefully you can get some inspiration from it. And if you haven't purchased it, you can see a link down below in the comments or in the description. You'll be able to see a link that takes you to the main Papercraft Society page on the website. This is going to guide you through how you can purchase your own boxes. Now there's lots of different ways of doing that. So there's subscriptions, there's 3, 6 and 12 months. I believe, something like that. And obviously the longer you subscribe for, the lower the price. So some people are getting their boxes for only £18, I want to say 74, something like that. Fabulous price. So this one will soon be available to buy individually, usually a few weeks after this video comes out, not too long anyway. But if you go to the Papercraft Society link, as I said, you will be able to find out when that's available. There are other boxes that you can subscribe to. So if you're subscribing from today, so each box has a different designer and of course different product. The video craft along like this, and then the project booklet, which I'll show you in a moment. Each box has that. If you are subscribing today, you won't receive this box. You will receive, I want to say it's going to be the John Next Door Autumn box would be your first one. Maybe wrong on that, but I think that's what it's going to be. So let's take a look inside for those of you who haven't got it. If you have, hopefully you've been through yours already. So my little comment, my little quote, crafting is all about enjoying the process as much as the end result, which is why we do these craft alongs, so that you can enjoy the process. Now let's just pop that to the side. We've got the wallet. Oh, my Velcro came unstuck. I think I had one of the first prototype ones here. So lots and lots in here. We have got our dies. Now what I wanted to do with this box was bring out or bring back a technique that I've not seen for a long time, and that was kind of well, it was actually two techniques in one. So it was parchment craft and also embroidery on your projects. So relaxing to do. Now obviously today I'm not going to get through a lot of embroidery while we're here because it is a slightly slower process, but I will certainly be adding some holes and some things for stitching. I've got a die cutting machine for these. Now this butterfly is really clever because the body remains intact within the paper and the wings cut out so you can lift them up. So there's a lovely example of that here. I think Glynis did this. Glynis Spake, well thank you so much. And then this one as well, as you can see, they just lift up and that body remains within the cardstock. So you've got that, you've got florals as well. You've got the outline for the flower, but then you've also got the embroidered holes. So you can choose to have the holes in there or not, just a solid flower. You've got words like fly high, you've got butterfly silhouettes, the body for the butterfly, more stitching detail. You've got these florals. I'm going to be mostly working with these today, and we'll get started on the card, and what I'll do is I'll finish it and then I'll get it posted online as well. So you've got lots of dies there. Then you've got some stencils as well. So these are for two things. You can either use them with your paper and your cardstock. You can see you have butterflies around the edge, or you have a swirly frame, or you can use them with your parchment because you do have embossing tools in the box as well. And talking about your parchment, you have a whole load, a massive wodge, is that the word, of parchment here that you can be using too. So lots and lots there. Plain parchment, you haven't got to worry about colour or pattern on it, so we'll be using that. Then you've got some stamps. So for those of you who like your traditional sort of paper crafts, just your stamping and your die cutting, we've got these here too. But all with that kind of lacy effect. Now let's just pop some of this parchment behind here so you can see that a bit more clearly. We've got the borders, we've got leaves, more lacy borders that you can repeat. Capture the moment, love, birthday wishes and butterfly kisses, celebrate being you. If nothing ever changed, there'd be no butterflies, and butterflies can't see their wings. How true is that? They can't see how beautiful they are. So they're all clear stamps, nice quality clear stamps. So that's in the wallet. Then a quick delve into here. The boxes very rarely vary between each other, okay? So usually what I'm showing you now is exactly what you would also get. So we have the threads. Now I love this because you get so much. All of these threads are included in your box. So there's 6 different ones there. Beautiful colours, aren't they? I absolutely love those colours. Then you have 2 embossing tools with various shaped ball tools on the ends. I love this yellow swirly one. That's really pretty. And you've got this one which is kind of like a rubber grip one. This is the larger, this is the smaller. Then we have in here, this is for threading your embroidery thread through your needle. So really helpful. You've probably, there's a proper name for them, I'm sure, but you've probably seen them 100 times before. They are so handy just to have around the house, to be honest. Inside here is your darning needle. I say darning, your embroidery needle. So we keep those in the little packet so you don't lose them, so you know where they are. Then, oh, hang on, that rolled away from me. We have a white pencil as well. You'll need to sharpen it. I actually need to do that still on this one. But this is for adding detail to your parchment. It's another way of working with parchment, is adding white detail to it. So you've got a white pencil in there. Then under here, you've got a piece of foam. Now this is to help you with your embossing tool and with your stencils. And then we've got our cardstock in the bottom here. Can you see all these? These are they actually come in one of those little white envelopes. Mine have all spilled out because, of course, I have been through my box. You've got white brads, ideal for keeping your parchment attached. And then we've got the cardstock, so that's the foam. So we've got the cardstock. We have beautiful colours, and these, of course, all coordinate with those threads as well. Let's just pop that to the side. So if I put the ombre, how gorgeous is that? Darker pink at the bottom, lighter pink at the top. So we've got the ombre pink, we've got the ombre purple as well, just there. The ombre blue, there's 2 of each of these, and then we have just the plain white also. This is a really good strong cardstock, perfect for your card bases. So that's everything that you've got in the box, and then you have the booklet as well, and of course, oh, the booklet's got that lovely card on the back. But you've got so many gorgeous projects in there. Many of them are step by step as well, so you're never going to be left on your own with these, and giving you lots and lots of techniques too. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to just take my cardstock out of here, my foam, and let's have a play. What shall we do first? Now, I've not planned anything because I think the idea with these is it's really nice to just go ahead and play and see what comes up. So you can kind of craft along with me, and it may be that you're doing exactly the same, or maybe you want to do something slightly different. I think I want to do a bunch of flowers to go on my card, and that's going to be inspired by this one here. So the bundle of flowers there that will have the embroidery on. So the first thing I need to do is die cut some beautiful white flowers. So let's see. Pop that white pencil's going to keep rolling away, I'm sure. So I'm just going to turn, I've got a fan in here, I need to turn that on, it's ever so hot in here. So in here we have lots of different swirls, florals, foliage, so we've got leaves in there as well. So just pop my hand through and release the sticky. So let's cut a couple of the flowers. Now these flowers, as I said, they are a border and they are a stitching die. So I'm going to pop one on top of the other, just like so. And I'm going to take a low tack tape that I've got. Anything else that I'm using is just going to be my stash that I've already got. So I won't be using anything else. And then I've got the smaller flower, so exactly the same. You've got the smaller elements and the larger elements. And just pop this on there. And a leaf. Could be a leaf, could also be another petal, I guess, or a teardrop shape. You could probably make it look like some sort of animal with legs coming out if you wanted to sort of experiment. So I'm going to pop those down. Let's bring in my die cutting machine and run these through there. There we go. They fit nicely because it's an A5 die cutting plate, so that A5 paper fits on there. Really good quality cardstock this, so do just check that everything's cut through before you move. Yeah, I'm just going to pop that over and run it through because that middle one, because I've got the others on the outside, the middle one didn't quite get the pressure that I'd have wanted it to get. So turn it over and see, is that better? So you know what, I'm going to remove these dies because that one's cut perfectly. So let's just take you out. There we go. Let's just run this one through. Is that one cut through? Yeah, that one's cut through absolutely fine. So let's just run this one through by itself, and that will help that one cut. So very often if you've got dies that are sitting too close together, what you'll find is they're just not getting the pressure that they need. So you can see there, that's now cut through fine. So let's pop these back on to the paper and let's cut another couple of bits. 1, 2. Oops, let's flip this over. There we go. I do prefer to cut that way, and then I'm going to pop that one on there and just make sure that's all cut through. Whoops. There we go. So I want a few of these. Now what I'm going to do, as I said to you earlier, I'm probably not going to get much time for embroidering into all of these whilst we're doing this video, but we'll get started and see how far we get. So I can release that one. Do you know what? That has made a really nice emboss on that paper. It's a technique to think about for another time. There we go. So now I am a stickler for putting things back where they belong, making sure everything's clean and tidy. If you've followed me at all ever, you'll know that that's just something I like to do. Let's just release this one. Pop, 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 pop. As the circles release. Pop, pop, pop. There we go. Here's one. And then, so you can cut these just as solid outlines if you prefer. You absolutely don't have to do it like that. Now I'm going to keep this out because there's some other elements here that I think I'm going to use too. So I need another piece of cardstock. Where did I put that? Okay. So let's see, I'm going to use another white. I did have 2 sheets of white, didn't I? What did I do with those? I'm losing things already, and that didn't take very long, did it? I think I'm going to use the pale blue as a background. Let me see. Can anyone else see what I did with that white sheet of cardstock? Because I definitely had it here. No, of course not. It's gone missing. Pink. Purple, white. Okay, so I will grab myself some white cardstock because that's definitely something that I tend to have here. I'm going to flick through these cards and make sure it didn't get caught up in there. No, maybe. It's here. I found it. Okay, so I'm going to fold this in half. Now to do that, I'm going, oh crash, I'm going to take my scoring board. I still have a squeaky chair, everyone. That's that noise. That is a squeaky chair, nothing else. And I'm going to go, so it's 8 1/4, so I'm going to go 4 1/16 of an inch. There we go. Just a scoring board makes that so much neater. Pop that to the side, and then I'm going to bring my trimmer in its place and take a pokey tool so I can just mark on here where I want. Do you know what? I think we'll go this way so we can have the dark to light a little bit, not too much, but a little bit of the dark to light. And there, one. Just marking with the pokey tool where I want my mats and layers to be, because then I haven't got to worry about the pencil lines and cutting those out, or rubbing those out, sorry. With the score line, you just cut straight through it. That's my scoring tool. That's my cutting tool. Do you know what? My cutting tool and scoring tool have switched places. They used to be the other way round. One must have come off and put it back on. Right, so keep all the bits of cardstock, and that should fit really nicely on top of there. Now I'm not going to glue that on at the moment, because what I am going to do is let's first of all pop out all of the little pieces from here. There we go, 1, 2, I'm counting as I go. I don't need to count. You really don't need to count these, don't worry. Pop, 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 pop through here. Are you all having a lovely day? Hasn't it been warm weather? Very hot, ridiculous. Actually, I love it. I love the hot weather. It just makes me want to go and sit in the garden though, rather than be sitting in a studio. But I'm not complaining because I have a studio, so I wouldn't complain. Do you know what? It's almost like I've got 2 bits of cardstock here. This cardstock is so thick, which is a good thing, especially if you're going to be stitching through it. The last thing you want is thin cardstock, isn't it? So yeah, how have you all been keeping cool? That's for you, those of you in the UK. Is anyone watching not in the UK? What's your weather been like? Where are you from? Let me know. And how many of you have this box as well? Who would like this box? Now you've seen what's in it. So many of you subscribe to Papercraft Society, and the fact you get the free Craftalong as well each month is just an absolute bargain. That was a noise between bargain and bonus, that word. So just pop those out, and that one's already done. So these are the ones that I'm going to have on my card lifted up, and I'm actually going to sort of layer these, quite a cluster there. Then I'm going to have the leaves, so 1 leaf there, 1 leaf there, but in addition to those I also want a couple of other leaves and things. So I'm going to cut into the cardstock some of these. So I'm going to cut one of these there. I think I'm just going to use a pencil if I can find myself. I say that, I don't keep many pencils spare, and the ones I have I usually end up losing, which is becoming apparent. That may be the case here. I don't seem to have much. Right, we'll have to sharpen this white pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to embroider into those flowers, and then I'm going to add some more gaps to embroider into the actual card base. So I want to add, I'm just going to do this very lightly. You won't see this probably through the camera, but I want 1 triangle there. I'd like another triangle, excuse me, another triangle around here. And I can erase this as well because it's just a white pencil. And then I have another one, a little one, just here. Okay, so and take my flowers. They look really pretty actually. They look quite pretty just as they are, so without any embroidery in them. So you could also do that as an effect. I'm not going to tape those down. I'm going to place them onto my die cutting machine without taping them, and just be careful that they don't move, because I'm a bit worried that the low tack tape, even the lowest tack tape, could potentially tear off some of the colour of the paper, and I want to keep that really nice and clean. So as you can see, I've got those there, lovely. And I'm just going to use my pokey. I think a pokey tool is going to be one of your best friends with this kit if you've got one laying around. Be really handy. Now I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do much in the way of the parchment craft, but during this live, but you have got so many options within the booklet. Excuse me, hiccup. Within the booklet that is going to guide you through different parchment style techniques with this kit. So go and have a look at those. There we go. Now, of course, you're going to also be needing a pair of scissors because we're going to be dealing with yarn. So let's start stitching. I've got my threader there, my needle threader. I've got my needle as well. We're going to start with some green, so the dark green. I'll do the card first. And we can have a little chat while I'm embroidering. So it's going to be a mix of the pieces that I'm going to glue on that are going to be embroidered, and then the pieces that I am doing directly into the, I say into the card base, it's not actually into the card base, but they're going to be onto the mat and layer instead. So scissors, because I don't want too long a bit to have to keep pulling through. And these are quite small as well, these ones. They won't take you too long at all. So I'm going to pop, I'm sure you've all used a needle threader before, but you put the wire through the eye of the needle, pop your thread through and pull it through. Now obviously embroidery thread quite thick, so do give it a little bit of a tug. There we go. Okay, so I am going to start in the middle. Okay, so I'm hoping you can all see this. Okay, I'm starting in the point, the middle point. I'm using my fingers to make sure that doesn't come through too far. I'm going to go into the one of the next holes along. Okay, just into there, and this one I'm going to tie, and tie a knot just so that that doesn't go any further. A double knot, nice and simple. Some people prefer to tie a knot in, like a little French knot, into the end of their thread so that it can't come through. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to go into the next one as well. Oh, do you know what? I've done this wrong. I've done this wrong. Okay. Ignore me. Let's leave those there. I'm not going into those, am I? Probably a different way of doing it. I'm going to go into the end one. Okay, then I'm going to come up, back up to the next hole along, and I'm going to go back into that top one. And then I'm going to do the same again. I was doing it the wrong way round. Silly. There, and then into. So always going back into that individual middle one. So my leaves are going to be a bit funny looking because they're going to kind of be upside down. But never mind, eh? So hopefully you can see I've gone down the row there, all into that middle one. I'm going to do the same here. See, very quick really, isn't it? And we will end up with a lovely leaf shape. I mean, it's going to be an upside down leaf shape. Can you hopefully you can see how it's coming together. And one more there. Now I will tie off each leaf and each flower as I do it. I won't go, look at that, there we go. I won't go dragging my thread over to another hole there. I will tie this off now. So make sure it's got some thread on. Just loop it underneath some of the threads and stitch back through, and that's enough to tie that. There we go, cut that nice and short. Pull that a bit shorter because I've got a smaller one here, so again going into the hole that's on its own, holding it with my fingers, going into that one. I'm actually going, because this is a nice small one, I can keep hold of that just for a moment. I'm going to go back into that one, into the middle, back into that same one again, and up to the third hole. So again, you've got a little spray there, and I'm going to use that loose thread that I didn't tie at the beginning to tie this off now. There we go. So when I said this takes a while, it can take a while, but it can also be really quite quick. It depends on the pattern and the colours that you're going to be doing. So I'm using the darker green for these pieces, these ones here. Then I'm going to be using the lighter green, let's pop that through here, for the leaves that are on top, because it kind of shows that the darker green is a bit further back in the shadows almost. There we go. This is the sort of craft that I'd like to be sitting on the sofa with in the evening and doing. Okay, let's do it correctly this time, shall we? So through the first one and up through the point of the arrow. Let's tie this one off because we've got a few to do here. There we go. I don't know if you can hear it, I've got tissue paper blowing around. The tissue paper from the Papercraft Society box, because I've got a fan on in here. It's blowing it all over the place. Okay, so back through that individual hole and then up to each of the other dots, spots, gaps, whatever you want to call them, little circles, holes. There we go, and again. What I'll do is when I've finished this, I will post a photo of it for you so you can see it. Oops, go through the correct hole. And it doesn't really matter which order you embroider these in, but I would say try and keep it symmetrical as much as possible, just so it looks neat. You will start finding that as you get more and more threads through the same hole, that you might start going through some of the threads that are already there. No harm done, but it gets a bit of a squeeze after a few. There we go, so there's another leaf. Isn't that pretty? I've probably just about got enough thread there to tie this off round the first thread that I did too. I want to do a double knot, so try to do that. We'll see how well it goes. There we go. There. Okay, so they're my greens. Now I keep all my threads because you never know when you might just need a tiny little bit. So that's the base for my card. I would tuck those threads in and pop those on. So now I need to work on these. Let's take a light green one and let's do another leaf, but one of these leaves there. Very similar in that you have the starting hole. Has anybody done embroidery on cards before? I'd love to know. And if you have, pop us a photo, tag us CraftStash, so hashtag CraftStash, or use the @ sign, depending on what platform you're on. And you can share with us your makes. We love to see them, and very often we will end up featuring you somewhere if you share with us cards that you've made using Papercraft Society or any of our own brands. So when we say own brands, we mean things like Made to Surprise Textures, Simply Made Crafts, Sheena, Card Making Magic, Paper Discovery. So yeah, all of those. Yes, I am doing this one correctly. This one is a little bit, I'd say unusual, but you're going through the middle hole each time, so through this end one, and then you're going to go up to the circle, that curve that goes around. Now what you'll find, the first few, you'll think, well, okay, so I'm just going over myself here, but eventually what happens is you start to fan out. The green starts to fan out. Can you see that? Starting to come to life. And as you move over the arc of this teardrop shape, you'll see more and more that the shape takes place. So there's one. So like I say, it's not a quick craft. It's not something that you can whip up in 5 minutes, but it's something that you can sit and hopefully relax and do. Now it's going to get harder and harder to get through this gap here down the bottom. Look at that. See, really pretty. And you could even stop halfway, I suppose, if you wanted to. Now I'm just going to move these threads over now, pull these threads over a little bit, start allowing me room to get into this circle. There we go. What you may actually find is an idea, I might do this on the next one, is popping your needle in and just making the hole a little bit larger for yourself. Maybe a needle or a pencil or the end of a pen, something like that, just to make it a bit easier for you to get into. Once you've got sort of 10 threads on there in going through the same hole, it does get quite busy. Oh, there's an ice cream van. How nice. I can have an ice cream for my dinner. Could you hear that? Can everybody hear that? Lovely. There we go. Do you know what? I think I'm only going to do one more rather than run through all of them. Let's go just down into that one. There we go. I've got a pretty embroidered leaf. How cute is that? And I've got enough thread to tie this off underneath. So what we're going to do next, let's do a flower next. So what colour should I do the flower? I've got the blue there. I think I might do a nice cream coloured flower, ivory colour, and a blue one as well. Blues and creams would be nice. I think that one was going to sit there. So let's do one of these. Let's do it in the blue so you can see it as I'm doing it. Make sure I've got plenty of thread. Now this one is going to be a little bit longer to do because of course you've got a lot more to do. You've got like a sort of one of those for each of the petals, but we can do that. So let's thread our needle through. Like I say, I'm not even touching on the parchment craft side of things here. I'm just sort of looking at the embroidery side of it, but you can embroider into the parchment as well, which is lovely. It's really pretty. So what I'm going to do here is, because as you just saw with the leaf, I didn't need to go all the way down the sides, because up to about here you're kind of overlapping anyway. Now you could stitch around the edge if you wanted to for a bit of difference. I'm going to go into the top of that arc. Okay, so you see, straight up the petal, back into, actually let's tie this off first. Let's just get this secured so that I don't have to keep hold of it, because it's a bit like crochet. I kind of get into the habit of holding the tail of the thread, but it's obviously not crochet. There we go. And then right, so back into the end, and I'm going to go up to the next hole along and start this sort of fan out of embroidery threads, and the next one along again. There we go. And I'm just going to do this enough times until I feel that I don't need to come back any further, until it's fanned out the entire shape of that particular petal. And that will actually make it really quite quick. But as I say, if you want to do a line of embroidery or stitching just around the edge of the petal, you could do that. A little bit different. I think possibly, let's do certainly one more. And then maybe, is anyone else really relaxed? I am. I could do this for a long, long time. There we go. So I think that is enough. So I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 10 entire holes there that I've not embroidered into, and I don't need to embroider into. So if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and into the 6th one, so you can do that at home. You can just try going into the 6th one or the 5th one if you prefer, and then I can go along into the next one and down. Switch up which way you do it, which end you come in and out of. It's up to you. Where have I just gone into there? So I need to come back into that end, into the middle, work your way around. I love this colour blue. It's kind of a dusky blue. It's a soft blue. This is a little bit darker than the papers. Works really well with it though, really pretty. There we go. So I'm now coming over the peak of the arc and back down. Now if you are shorter of time, excuse my fan going on there, if you are shorter of time, you could have a look at your positioning of these on your card and only embroider the petals that are going to be seen as well. There's a little tip for you, because some of these are going to be kind of almost covered up. There we go. See, these are going to go on there. Let's straighten that up so you get the idea. This one's going to be kind of on top, like so. Oh, you are going to see most of it, but that one's going to go over the middle. So certainly I can do 2 more petals on this flower. I don't need to do that 5th petal. That's going to be covered up by that one. So look how pretty that is already. It's already starting to kind of come together, isn't it? So let's do 2 more of these. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 into the 6th one. Now, of course, you don't have to stick to the same colour throughout the entire flower either. If you want to switch up and do alternate petals, you could do that. Oh, do you know what? I might do that on the little one underneath. I might do alternate between the cream and the blue, just to give it a slightly different blue colour. That'd be pretty, won't it? Should we do that? I'll do that. Just do this petal, then I'll do the next petal, and then we'll move on to that smaller flower and see how we're going to embroider that one. Who does embroidery? Does anyone still do embroidery? Because you're probably looking at me and crying at, you know, the way in which I embroider. If you do. Now, I'm getting a little bit short on my thread there, so I'm not sure how much I'm going to be able to do of this one. But we'll give it a go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That one I didn't pop that one out for some reason, but never mind, it's out now. See, by using this really strong cardstock as well, because it's like a 300 GSM cardstock, it's not breaking. I mean, I'm moving this around a lot, I'm bending it and such, and it's absolutely fine. I have got a bit of thread. Oh, there you go, the tail had popped through the last hole there. Don't need that. I don't know where it's trying to get to. Will I just about make it with this thread? I think I should do, especially as that side's going to be covered up. So, oh, I think I can do it. Let's just pull this one more. Can we do one more? Yes, we can get that in there. Lovely. See how pretty is that? And then let's just tie this off. So just pop your needle through, and then I go through the loop that I've just made to create a knot. There we go. Cut that. So that's going to sit there. Oh, just on there. How pretty. How pretty. Okay, so now I did say about mixing the threads for this one. So let's pull some cream out, and let's pull out some blue. I had the blue. I'm going to have to take the wrap off because I did have the end of the blue. Now I can't find it. Where are you? You're here somewhere. Oh, flashbacks to my crochet when I always get muddled up. There it is. I've got it. Okay. So I'm going to do one at a time. So I'll start with the blue because you can see the blue clearer than I think you're going to be able to see the cream. So thread my needle through. Oh, the fan's blowing the thread around. There we go. So we've got the next Papercraft Society box is John Next Door, the August one. So you'll soon all be receiving that. Won't be too long. So I'm going to do this one exactly the same. I'm going to go into the middle. We left this quite long. I'm going to go in each petal, one, and then back. So I'm missing a hole and then coming back. So if I just pull this through and show you. Oh, I've pulled right through, far too much there. And pull that through there. There we go. So you see I've just missed a hole here. So I've gone 1, 2. Then I'm going to come back through, leaving another 2 again. into the centre hole. Oh, caught on my scissors. This tail is being a little bit of a pain, and then I'm going to come back through the last hole of this particular petal. Okay. Whoop. Right, scissors, and go over there. So then I'm going to unthread my thread, just so we can move on to the cream colour for you. Now what I will do is I will go round each of the petals in one colour and then each of the petals in the second colour, but this is just to show you what I mean by mixing my colours. I think it's going to be really pretty. We're already 40 minutes in, so not that much long. I'm just going to show you this flower, I think. I'll show you how I put this flower together, and then, in fact, by the time this video is up, you should have an image of this completed card, so you'll be able to see how I finished it off. But hopefully it's inspired you to get going with these dies and these gorgeous threads and create something different. Now, don't forget, any of these dies you could be using directly on your cardstock, as I did there. You don't have to be cutting it out of white cardstock and then doing it. So let's run that through, the cream through the centre hole at the bottom, and I'm going to come up into one of those mist spots. Then I'm going to go up to the centre spot. Whoops, caught all around itself. Into the centre, like so. So just going through that last hole in there, and then we've got the two-tone petals with the blue and the cream. It's really pretty, like that. There you go. So what I'm going to do is finish this flower exactly the same as this blue one. Then I'm going to do this one in the two-tone, layer them up, and hopefully by now, by the time this video is up, you should see this finished card all done, nice and pretty. There's so many elements within the kit as well that you can finish with sentiments. So we can take one of the stamps. Let's have a look in here. We've got all of these different sentiment stamps there that you can use. I would probably do it in white embossing just to make it really stand out on here. But also you've got the fly high just there as well, so you could use that if you wanted to. So really pretty. Let me know if you use any embossing or any embroidery on cards, any stitching, anything like that. If you've got the kit, I'd love to see what you make with it too. So like I say, just hashtag CraftStash. Oh yeah, I've got the other green leaf to do as well. I'll get that done and get that put on there. So lots of layering. And thank you so much for joining me. We will be back next month. So John Lockwood of John Next Door is going to have his craft along with his box. That'll be around about the middle of the month, but we'll get an event put up on Facebook. So keep an eye out for that, and you can register your interest there. And I'll see you again very soon. In fact, I'm back. So this is out on Wednesday. I'm back on Friday with, of course, another brand new launch. I'll see you then. In fact, it's my own launch. It's my textures launch. So definitely join me for that one, 12:30 on CraftStash channels. I'll see you again all really soon. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.